First up, a report by global energy think tank Ember says India has surpassed Japan to become the world's third largest solar power generator in the year 2023. More in the next report.
India has surpassed Japan globally to rank third in terms of solar power generation in 2023. Rapid expansion of solar energy has catapulted it to the third place in world rankings, according to a recent report by global energy think tank Ember. The report added that solar power contributed to 5.8% of India's total energy production last year. The increase of clean electricity is not just reducing carbon footprint, but also meeting the rising energy demand. It is also helping in decoupling economic growth from emissions, crucial for tackling climate change. India registered fourth largest increase in solar generation in 2023, only behind China, the United States and Brazil. India has been advocating adoption of renewable energy sources and championing the cause of combating climate change. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been a vocal proponent of clean energy. He was instrumental in the launch of the International Solar Alliance in 2015. It is a treaty-based alliance of countries between the tropics that are rich in solar resources. The goals of ISA is creating a leadership role in climate action and mobilizing $1 trillion by 2030 for affordable solar energy.
All right, let me pull up some graphics for you that will help you understand India's achievements over the years. Take a look. India is the third largest energy consuming country in the world. Solar energy contributes 5.5% globally. India's production has increased significantly since 2015. India has jumped remarkably from the 9th place in 2015. It now stands fourth in renewable energy installed capacity, fourth also in wind power capacity, and fifth in solar power capacity. Highest year-on-year growth in renewable energy additions of 9.83% in the year 2022. And installed solar energy capacity increased 30 times in the last 9 years. Solar energy capacity stands at 81.81 gigawatts in March 2024. Solar energy potential estimated to be 748 gigawatt per hour, according to the National Institute of Solar Energy. And last but not the least, the installed renewable energy capacity increased by 128% since the year 2014. And to talk more on this, I'm joined by Mr. Ranjit Gupta, who joins us from New Delhi. Mr. Gupta is the CEO of Prasar Energy. Mr. Gupta, welcome to DD India. First, did I pronounce the name correctly of a company, Prasar Energy? Okior. Okay, I stand corrected. Now, Mr. Gupta, to begin with, how would you describe India's journey from the 9th to the third largest solar power generator in the world?
So, for someone who has been in the renewable energy sector for the last 14 years and in the power sector for the last 20 years, the rise of India over the last 10 years in this renewable energy sector has been nothing short of spectacular.
Indeed.
And I mean, what we have achieved, and I know this for sure because, when I joined this industry about 14 years back, when me and my partner, we started our first renewable energy venture. At that time, we had thought that if ever we were able to get our company up to 300 megawatts of renewable energy capacity, we would be the kings of the world, right? And today, the small projects being done are 300 megawatts. So that is the journey that is so spectacular, that when one had the ambition that the whole company would do 300, now companies are there are tens of companies doing 300 megawatt projects by themselves.
Now, Mr. Gupta, you run a private company. You're the CEO of Okior Energy. I have to ask you this. Is there scope for more public-private partnership in this area in India and elsewhere?
So to some extent, there is a need. And that need is less when it comes to, renewable energy in the traditional sense, as in solar and wind.
Okay.
More in terms of, the larger decarbonization journey that India has embarked on. For example, green hydrogen, green ammonia. There, I believe that there is, more important to have collaboration between public and private sector. But do remember that the collaboration is always there, because most of the energy that we produce, whether it is solar, whether it is wind, whether it is hydro, is all bought by state distribution companies, right?
Right.
So in a sense, unless and until the public sector buys power from us on a long-term power purchase agreement, we really can't build up projects very, very cheaply, right? If tomorrow we were supposed to sell everything in the exchange or something of that sort, that would not really, help reduce the price of electricity. So therefore, the collaboration has always been there. And as far as partnership is concerned, I think in the newer technologies, as newer technologies develop on the green hydrogen, green ammonia side, perhaps partnership will also starting to happen.
Fair enough. Next, Mr. Gupta, I have a couple of very generic questions for the benefit of viewers joining us from India and around the world. To begin with, what are the salient features of India's renewable energy policy?
So I think the most important feature, I believe, of India's renewable energy policy is our Prime Minister's vision, right? When in 2014, when he told everyone that we are going to be 175 gigawatts by 2022, we just couldn't believe our ears, right? At that time, India had maybe 5 or 10 gigawatts of capacity installed at that time. And there was this target in front of us of 175 gigawatts. So once the Prime Minister has expressed a vision of that sort, then we as a nation, we sort of fall behind that vision and make sure that the policies reflect that vision, right? So over the years, and in this 175 gigawatt number was in 22 upgraded to 500 gigawatt by 2030. Right, and also when you look at the NDCs that India presented in 2015, right, the key NDCs in 2015 were met by 2019, 2020 already. And one was 40% capacity of renewable in the country, and the other one was a reduction of 33% of emissions from 2005 level by 2030. And at the COP26, we upgraded those NDCs, right? From 40%, we went to 50%. From 33%, we went to 45%. So this is the vision of our leader, or of our leadership, that has resulted in policies which are broadly supportive. So, for example, last year in 2023, 2024, we conducted almost 50 gigawatts of auctions, were conducted across the country, right? And that is something which is directly a result of the vision to get to 500 gigawatts by 2030. If we don't do 50 gigawatts, we can't get to 500, right? And we have seen that whatever we are doing, it's not enough. I mean, we need to do more. We are doing a lot, but we need to do more.
Indeed. Mr. Gupta, you spoke about India's policy and national plan to combat climate change and and clean energy as well. In that context, I have to ask you this before we wrap up this conversation. Can other countries learn from India government policies or Indian industries' best practices?
Oh, 100%. I think the way since the early days, I mean, I'm talking like 15, 17 years ago, right, when the standard bidding documents were prepared by the Ministry of Power, and then when the first solar auctions started to happen, and then the wind auctions started to happen, by themselves, just the concept of reverse auction. This is just one small concept in the overall story, right? Of course, India has done tremendously on making sure there's a central grid. There is one country, one grid, which is not true of many, many even large countries, developed countries. This doesn't exist. In India, there is one grid, one frequency across the nation. The reverse auction by itself, even today, there are many countries that work on feed-in tariffs, right? And India literally never had feed-in tariffs for solar, and moved from a feed-in tariff regime to auction regime for wind also 7 years back, right? I mean, these small things also will make a huge difference to or any country that chooses to follow the path that India has followed, right? By standardizing policies, creating a regulatory framework that is consistent and dependable, and something that you can bank on, and therefore make sure that your debt cost is low, and therefore you can drive down your energy prices. So there is a lot to learn from the India journey.
Absolutely. On that, Mr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.